Something just pushed me. Oh my god.
Good afternoon, my name is Kerry Davis. Welcome to The Haunted Truth. The programme looks at an apparent haunted location where we send a skeptic and a believer to analyse the ghostly scene with the latest ghost hunting equipment.
As far as I know, there's no sightings up here. No one's actually seen it, but they know the story, the legends that we've got, and it's been documented in quite a few local books.
Is this somewhere that you used to live and you died elsewhere, but you've come back to this place? That's it.
Would you prefer that we use the EMF detector instead of the spirit box?
Yes.
But we're the most haunted place in Surbiton.
More on that later, but first we must meet our believer Kaya Cheshire and our skeptic Clem Johnson, who'll be investigating the spooky locations. So Clem, why do you not believe in the supernatural?
I've never had any experiences or seen any concrete evidence that would make me believe in the supernatural. I mean, I'm a big fan of X-Files, but that is a TV show after all. But yeah, believe in aliens, but just not ghosts or anything like the boogeyman.
Okay, and Kaya, have you ever experienced any paranormal activities?
Well, yeah, actually I have. When I was 11, I woke up in the middle of the night and I could smell this, it's called Old Spice, and it was what my granddad used to wear, and I looked over my blanket and saw my granddad sat at the end of my bed. So that for me was pretty much a oh my god. And I mean, when it comes to spirits and ghosts, like people say, oh, it can be blamed on like peripheral vision when you first wake up as well. But I don't think smelling that, this is my grandpa's aftershave, there's an explanation for, to be honest.
Okay. Well, let's go to the Fox and Hounds pub in Surbiton to hear from a landlord, Gary Portsmouth, about the haunted truth of the pub.
When I came here, a lot of customers told me of landlords screaming and leaving, and other telling me about things upstairs moving and things down here, and about the ghost that walks through the wall. But as far as I know, there's no sightings up here. No one's actually seen it, but they know the story, the legends that we've got, and it's been documented in quite a few local books that we're the most haunted place in Surbiton. Well, upstairs is supposed to be a man, very aggressive, moves things around, turns lights on and off, does things like that. And the psychics, we do a psychic fair at night. They come every 2 months really, and they've said that when he's down here, he's aggressive to them, he pushes them and he pulls their hair. That's the one up for upstairs. Downstairs there is a lady, which is the main one everyone talks about, because in Surbiton Court and all the area behind us, that block of buildings right the way up to the traffic lights was a villa. That was knocked down, and in 1929 Surbiton Court was built, and so that's documented in the history of Kingston and Surbiton in that book. So we know that. So before that the villa was there, and she died in a tunnel which goes directly from the pub to the gardens of the villa, and she passed away in there, waiting for her eloping with the son of the villa. So, and she was left. He didn't turn up. I've never seen any of them. I think basically I haven't done anything wrong to upset them, because they've never upset me. Other landlords have said they've seen them, and the temporary managers and everything in the interim periods where the pub was going from tenant to management came and left. Apparently one of them left screaming. He left and never came back. because he saw the ghosts. But I mean, I think they're not that bad spirits. If they wander around, they don't hurt anybody. But no one here have ever seen anybody. But, you know, and mediums say they're here.
So, the Fox and Hounds seems like an interesting place. Investigators, I can see you've brought your devices along with you that you use to conduct your investigation. Could you possibly explain how they work? Clem, if you'd like to go first.
Well, this is the PSB7 spirit box. It scans radio frequencies, both AM and FM. We've got a volume control. We've got the skip forward through the radio frequencies. And if ghosts want to communicate with us, they'll use this device, and hopefully it'll pick up on their frequencies, and they can actually talk and speak to us.
Okay, so Kai, what about your device?
Okay, so this is an EMF detector, so it's an electromagnetic field detector, and it detects frequencies. So if we speak to spirits or we try and communicate with them, then they can come forward and the colours will change, so it'll be sort of like a voltage. And if we test, like say around an electrical room like a studio, then the electromagnetic field will go up, obviously.
Okay, great. Before we take a look at how our two investigators got on at the Fox and Hounds pub, we would like to hear from you. Please follow the discussion at KU Haunted Truth, and we will share some of your tweets later on. But now it's time for us to take a look at the first investigation.
Hello and welcome. We're here today at the Fox and Hounds to do a paranormal investigation.
The pub has witnessed some spooky goings on, so we're here to determine whether or not it's actually haunted.
While Clem made his way upstairs into the bathroom where the spirit of the angry man is said to be seen, I headed down into the cellar where the spirit of the White Lady is said to haunt the pub to see if I can make contact. Okay, so this is the room where the White Lady has been seen, and this was the entrance to the tunnel which has been blocked up. The tunnel which she supposedly went through to find her lover, and he didn't wait for her or didn't turn up, and this is apparently where she died. I started my investigation by using the EMF detector to try and make contact with the spirit of the White Lady. So, are there any spirits with us today? Can you communicate with us? Something? Anything to let us know that you're here?
While Kyra is investigating the cellar, I tried to make contact with the spirit of the angry man, who apparently haunts the pub's upstairs bathroom. Okay, so we're here today in the bathroom, where apparently in the mirror behind me, a man was sighted. A ghostly image of a man was sighted while the previous landlord was brushing his teeth. Long story short, he ran out of here screaming and never came back. So we're going to test today, see if there is anything, any residual paranormal activity still going on. It's the spirit box, so I'm just going to scan some radio frequencies, try and make contact. Okay, so is there anyone here that wants to make contact with us? If there is anyone here, could you please try and communicate through this box, and it will pick up the frequencies. And yeah, we'll be able to hear you. So first of all, could you tell us your name? By the response I get on the spirit box, it seems like I've had some sort of reply from the spirit realm, but this could just be a radio station that happened to get picked up. Now let's go back to the studio for a quick discussion.
Well, Clem, is that enough information for you to start believing, or are you still a skeptic?
No. It said that's it, but it could just be a radio station that was picked up. It's definitely not conclusive enough for me. I feel like I'd need some hard evidence, a physical touch or a presence or, a plate to smash for me to believe in ghosts.
So a poltergeist.
A poltergeist, yeah, exactly.
Okay, so Kai, you didn't seem to have any activity yourself, but what would you make of Clem's findings?
I think Clem's findings should actually further the point that that there is such thing as the paranormal. Because I mean, there was supposed to be an angry ghost of a man in the bathroom, and I mean, what response he got was a man's voice, and he sounded angry.
He was a bit short, but it wasn't really angry, and he didn't really say much. I mean, I guess a blunt man rather than an angry man might be appropriate.
Yeah, but I mean, he gave his name and everything. So.
Okay, well, let's go back to the investigation and see if Kaya finds anything else to convince the skeptic Clem.
I'm still here in the cellar trying to make contact with the spirit of the White Lady. After 30 minutes with no electromagnetic readings, I suddenly start to get a response. Okay, so can you come to us for yes or... Okay. Are you female? Okay. Are you the lady in white? Are you male? Are you still here with us? Come forward if you'd like to communicate with us. All of a sudden, the EMF detector spikes into the red. Whatever's causing this, it seems to respond to my questions and has a very high magnetic field. What's interesting is before the investigation, I went round the cellar with the EMF detector to see if I could pick up any natural readings. I didn't pick up any. I'm directly below this part of the pub, and there's nothing up here that could be causing the detector to spike.
As Kaya is getting what she believes to be contact from the spirit in the cellar, I am starting to get what seems to be contact through the spirit box. When I ask for a name, I seem to get an intelligent answer saying, "There'll be none of that."
Could you tell us your name? Really sorry, I didn't quite catch that. Could you repeat your name just for the cameras?
It seems that when I ask the spirit to repeat their name, I get a response with the name John.
I thought I had a John there.
So far, the Fox and Hounds is giving us a lot of paranormal activity.
Wow, that was some spooky stuff. So Kaya, according to your EMF detector, you had a female presence. Could you feel anything to confirm this?
I mean, yeah, well, I think there was a female presence because, I mean, when we got there, it took between 5 and 10 minutes before we even got any results. And then, obviously, like, when we asked if it was male or female, we got a female response. And the temperature completely dropped. There were chills. I had goosebumps. I mean, a lot of the crew felt uncomfortable. So for me, that was just more signs that the paranormal exists again.
Awesome. So, Clem, from our first investigation, you obviously not a believer, but now you have a name. So how would you react to that?
Well, this device scans frequencies, it scans radio stations. So if there was someone on a chat show being interviewed called John, it would probably be scanning through the frequencies, and then I asked it a name, and it happened to be a coincidence that John came up. It's kind of fractured anyway in the sound, so I'm not sure if I even heard John. I just thought I might have heard John, but it could just be my brain messing around.
So how do you react to each other's findings?
So far, I mean, yeah, so far I think the findings are pretty conclusive, in my opinion.
I would say that, the crew felt cold chills, but they're in the cellar of a pub, which is where the beer kegs are cooled, so the aircon is running.
Although that makes sense, how do you, what response can you give about the EMF device going off so much after we'd already checked it once and there were spikes that were unexplainable, especially because of the frequency?
That's something I can't explain,
exactly.
To be honest, but...
Just because you can't see something doesn't mean it's not real.
Sure. Gravity.
Did you check for cold spots before you started, or did they just happen in the time?
They just happened in the time.
Yeah, interesting. Also, we have received several tweets from our audience at home with their own opinions. This one is for you, Kaya. Kaya, do you really think there was a ghost spirit in the pub? It looked really spooky. #scared from Diet Coke Lad 22.
Okay, Diet Coke Lad 22. Yeah, I do think that there was, I definitely think there was a spirit in the pub, to be honest. I mean, like I say, the devices went off. We had really, it was really weird. It was mixed sort of I don't even know. It was just really strange. I can't explain it, which is why I guess I believe it.
Awesome. And I do have one for you from Fruit Cocktail 89. So, would you consider yourself a believer now? I think the evidence suggests that ghosts really do exist.
No, I'm still not a believer, is the long and short of it. I don't think that there's been any evidence contrary to the fact that ghosts just don't really exist.
All right, well, now things are heating up. Let's return to the Fox and Hounds.
While Kaya is in the cellar making contact with what seems to be the spirit of the White Lady, I am in the bathroom, still using the spirit box to communicate with a spirit that seems to have called himself John.
So I'm just going to go with that. John, if that was your name, could you please tell me if you died in this room or if you died in this house? Sorry, I didn't know that. I wonder, is this somewhere that you used to live and you died elsewhere but you've come back to this place? That's it.
I seem to get another intelligent answer, confirming to me that I did hear the reply. That's it.
Is this somewhere that you used to live and you died elsewhere but you've come back to this place? That's it. That's quite strange. Okay. John, could you tell us how you died? Was it accidental? Was it murder, perhaps? Any details you can give us?
It is at this point that I don't get any more responses from the spirit box. But Kaya, having had great results with the EMF detector, now tries to use the spirit box to make contact.
It's important to know that as I started to use the spirit box, the EMF detector was left switched on. Could you tell me your name? If there's someone in here, could you please tell us your name? There's a knock in the cellar and a sound that comes through the spirit box, but we debunk this as a sound being made by the film crew and the spirit box picking up a split second of radio broadcast. If someone's here with us, can you please communicate a yes? We've been getting some great responses with our ghost gadgets, and the best is yet to come. For now, back to the studio to discuss our contact with the supernatural so far.
Wow, so Clem, you look genuinely surprised with the results from the spirit box. So how can you comment on it?
I was genuinely surprised. I mean, once coincidence, twice probably a coincidence, but 3 times seems a bit, yeah, the coincidence theory seems a bit shaky. It could be a coincidence, but I was a bit spooked out.
So you're sticking with a coincidence?
Yeah, just going to stick with it scientifically. I think that
Okay,
just makes most sense.
Cool. So Kai, how do you think yourself and Clem's findings are progressing? Do you think it's a coincidence?
I don't really think it's a coincidence, to be honest, because I mean, like I say, the results we've got would indicate that spirits are there. And I mean, I know there's always the argument that like a lot of people say that if you believe in God, you believe in spirits, but I don't believe in God, I believe in spirituality. And I have something to say, like, if you, as a man of science, I'm guessing, you believe in aliens, so have you seen an alien? And if you haven't seen an alien, you haven't seen a ghost, how can you determine that ghosts aren't real?
I haven't seen an alien. There have been sightings of aliens.
There have been sightings of ghosts.
Sure, but those sightings of ghosts have been by people, you know, woo.
Yeah, maybe the sightings of aliens have been a bit, woo.
Fair enough, but statistically it's almost impossible that life doesn't exist in the universe. It's such a vast expanse of space that it's almost impossible that we are alone.
Yeah, but you can't guarantee there are aliens, you can't guarantee there are spirits. How?
I can't guarantee that there are either, but I think aliens are more likely.
Okay. Even though there have been sightings of spirits.
Sure, by people on the...
I wasn't on there when I was 11.
Maybe you were.
But on that note, most alien findings have been proven to be a hoax, whereas in spirituals, if I was to debate for Kaya, they're not less hoax. So how would you reflect your belief in aliens and not ghosts?
Also, spirits have been around since the 9th century. If you look back in history, like to the Egyptian Book of the Dead.
Jesus has been around since, the 1st century? So, don't really believe in Jesus. I mean, he probably was a man, but nothing more than that.
Okay. Well, please continue to tweet at KU Haunted Truth. We would still love to hear your thoughts. Now we return for our final part of our ghost investigation.
I'm still in the upstairs bathroom of the Fox and Hounds, and I'm going to try and make contact using the EMF detector. If there is anyone or anything in this room, can you please step towards the EMF detector and just, let your presence be known. I'm trying to communicate with any supernatural beings or any beings that might have passed over. If you could, please just come towards the device. With the response Kaya had with the EMF detector, I on the other hand don't get any activity from any spirits, or from the spirit who called himself John. After an hour of trying, my time investigating has come to an end.
I'm still down in the cellar asking questions using the spirit box, and the spirit of the white lady seems to be answering me through the EMF detector. We just managed to capture this in time. So is it all with us? With this response, I ask if the spirit would prefer to communicate through the EMF detector, and straight away I get an answer. Would you prefer that we use the EMF detector instead of the spirit box?
Yes. Okay.
Okay. Unfortunately, my time investigating in the Fox and Hounds has also come to an end. I'm amazed at the evidence I was able to capture down in the cellar.
We leave the Fox and Hounds with the evidence we have captured, and now head back to the studio to discuss our findings from our paranormal investigation.
So there we have it, our final conclusion of our investigation for this episode. Clem, as a skeptic, has any of your findings challenged your opinion as a skeptic, or if it hasn't, how would you explain your results?
I don't think anything from the spirit box has changed my opinion at all. As I said, I'm going to stick with the coincidence theory. I managed to get Radio 4 on the spirit box earlier, so I was a bit concerned about that. The one thing I will say though, I went down into the cellar before we started filming. It was pretty cold, but air cons and stuff. But one of the crew members took a picture of me, and there's an orb behind me that you can see on the screen. And I thought, this is probably just a piece of dust, just something that's got on the lens as they were taking a photo. But they took a series of photos, and in the next one, there is no orb, there's no piece of dust. I can't really explain that, but maybe the dust was falling past the camera at that exact moment. I don't really know.
Okay, so Kaya, when you were using the spirit box, you still managed to get some readings from the EMF detector. Can you tell us a bit more about that?
Okay, yeah, so I was trying to communicate using the spirit box because I'd used the EMF detector, and we put the EMF detector on the bed, and I asked the spirit if it would prefer to communicate via spirit box or EMF detector. When I said EMF detector, it went off on the bed. So how the EMF detector went off and spiked so like rapidly, especially, it's stationary on a bed. I can't really explain. To be honest, I think that says it all. I think that the experience in the bathroom and the orb, for me, it kind of sums it up.
If it was a female ghost, maybe she doesn't like the sound of her own singing voice, so she preferred to communicate with the spirit box, not spirit box, the EMF detector, that's the one.
Yeah, maybe. I think the EMF detector is easier to communicate with, to be honest.
How long did you try to communicate through the spirit box before asking about the EMF preference?
It was about 5 minutes, and after getting no response, and then I was still trying with the spirit box and the EMF went off. So for me, I don't think that can be explained. Again, there was no electrical voltage, especially in a cellar, like you say, underground. There's no electrical charge that could have set it off. So I guess I'd like to really ask Clem, like, how do you explain that?
I don't really know, to be fair. I held the EMF detector up to a whole bunch of light switches, T-bars, held it up to the camera. The maximum that I got was about 2 bars, 3 bars. So for it to spike red, I've got no idea.
Okay, so just to quickly summarise, do you think the place is haunted?
No.
Yes,
No.
definitely.
No.
Definitely.
No.
Yeah.
Well, it's been an interesting investigation at the Fox and Hounds pub. I'd like to thank our believer Kaya Cheshire and our skeptic Clem Johnson. Join them next week where they'll investigate the famously haunted Ham House in Richmond, Surrey. My name is Kerry Davis. You've been watching The Haunted Truth. Thank you for watching and we'll see you next week.